What is going on, YouTube? Why does my camera look all weird? Holy crap! What is going on here? Hold on a second. Swear, this shit only happens when you reset my computer for some dumb reason. I'm like extra sharp. I don't know why. Do I look sharp to you? I mean, I know I worked out today, but damn, something is way off. Oh, I know what it is. Dude, I swear to God, StreamYard is just. This didn't happen last night. I swear, every single time I go live, there's something different that's happening on StreamYard. It is the most bizarre thing. And I don't know why. It's better. Hold on. I have no idea what's going on. Dude, Waylon, 100%. I don't know what it is. Didn't change a single thing from last night. It's been less than 20. It's been what? Less than 24 hours since I logged off. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're going to make you extra sharp. I have no idea why. It's just, there's nothing that's really good. I mean, OBS isn't bad. You know, that's what I do on my Thursday night streams. Cause it's just like, well, I can just, do a, random camera from that point. Anyway, how are y'all doing? How's everyone doing on a Tuesday, July 7th, 7/7? Oh, I know what I think I know what happened. The temperature might have changed. No, actually that didn't work either. Maybe change the sharpness a bit. Oh, weird. Very interesting. Anyway, well, we are here to talk about episode 3 of season 3 of House of the Dragon, titled Rhaenyra Triumphant, which as I was rereading from last week, that is actually the chapter in House of the Dragon, of course. We discussed it last week as we looked in the preview, which I haven't seen a whole lot from people online talking about whether or not they hated this episode. So I am kind of curious to see what the consensus says. But yeah, we got the book here, Rhaenyra Triumphant, as one of the chapters here. And the dying of the dragons is kind of what we're preluding to here, and not quite the whole chapter, but yeah, I am kind of curious. Maybe I'll throw a poll up on the YouTube chat and kind of see what people think. We're also streaming on X. Shout out to the X watchers, and on Kick if you're on Kick too. So, appreciate that. But yeah, Jack's good to see you as well. Mad Dog, how you doing, brother? I don't think this episode is horrible like the Dirt Erotic panel thinks. The pacing shots were near a point of view I liked, but I just didn't like a lot of the writing choices. I would go 5 out of 10, least of the season. Yeah. I have a lot of issues. Daemon leaving a dragon, Rhaenyra alienating the nobles, Corlys feeling treason, Rhaenyra not legitimizing them in the first place, the dragon keeper plot. Yeah, we're gonna discuss all that. We're gonna basically, the way I kind of wanted to frame this episode is we're gonna go by each character in this episode, and we'll talk about what the show portrays of them and how they're portrayed in the book. Which again, this is remember we said this last week. This would have been the season 3 premiere had we gotten episodes 1 and 2 as the penultimate and season 2 finale. So let's just say, as an example, now that we've seen episode 3, season 2 is like, well, okay, at least it ended with the Battle of the Gullet. However, this is how season 3 starts. I'm sure a lot of people would have said, man, this season did not start off that strong. Kind of dull. Again, we have the variations, the differing of sorts from the plot, the characters of this episode, which again, there are certain parts I liked. Again, I think the cinematography and the point of views are generally strong. I think, again, even like the CG isn't terrible. This with the dragons. But that's not where a lot of the problems and the criticism occurs. It's always with what's changed from the book, from the source material. Yeah, Daemon wanted to conquer all the lands. When the last episode he said he's seen the vision of the White Walkers and that's all he cares about. His wife being King's Landing in the last episode, but said to be in Templeton, of course. The White Worm, Mysaria, her Lady of Misery, right? She's also called, being essentially the hand of the queen. Her character sucks. Torrin Manderly was great. Ormond as the bad was great. High Septon was great too. Yeah. What's up, Viking? How you doing? I do worry they were going to whitewash Rhaenyra's mistakes that make her seen as Maegor with teats, 100%. They are setting it up that she is only called that because the nobles are mad, right? And that's a problem. That is a problem. How do y'all? I suspect I'm going to be long because I can only take so much these days before raging. Well, we're all here to rage together, Waylon. You know what I'm saying? So, Joe, what's up, Dominic? How you doing? We're already halfway part of the week, right? How you doing, Beans? How was work today? Thanks for watching. I didn't think I'd be able to take the heat. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, what's up, Jaconas? How you doing, brother? Molly Mall. Mom. Now it's Mommy Maca bread. Interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go shirtless for free, so of course not. It's just a gray. Maybe that's what I need to change. Maybe I need to change the tone of my stream here. Kind of change the whatever. Who cares? As long as y'all can hear me and see me, that's fine. So yeah, let's just kind of start off with our characters and overall maybe just synopsis of this episode. And I think one thing that this episode is trying to convey is that they're trying to say that this episode can still be filled with character drama. But the real question, as we're all watching it, is whether or not it still has these writers, this Ryan Condal and the lot, have the courage to let these characters become as ugly as they are in the book, right? Because Rhaenyra, of all people, is far more cruel than she is in the show, especially in this episode in particular, right? So that's kind of one of the problems that, as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, I mean, like the whole thing with the nobles and finding the rats. She's like, oh, I have a solution for the rats. Well, I'll just catch the rats, we'll cook them, and we'll serve them on plates. Now, I thought, yeah, that was actually kind of ballsy, because I'm like, it's interesting that she's, doing something cruel to the nobles here. Which, I also wanted to point out as I was rereading, I think it was on what page was it? But it literally says that Mysaria was not part of the High Council, which I was like, huh. And yet here she is. As almost seemingly the hand of the queen. And I also think too, again, there's just things that I don't understand why they deviated from, but I understand like they're probably using it in maybe down the line. But again, I don't know how it's going to turn out. If I'm being honest, Mysaria was never quoted to be a part of the council, which is a problem. Yeah, and exactly, she was supposed to be more loyal to Daemon as well. But there's one of the other things is that I again, I'm not sure what their reasoning from where was it, from Hugh Hammer. Like Hugh in the book is kind of rampant, right? Like after Rhaenyra in this episode says, okay, well, Hugh, you get this, and Ulf, you get that. But even then, he was like, "Hey, what do we get? Like, what about my wife? You know, she's in Tumbleton. What are we gonna do?" Um, well, and I think it's interesting because in the book here, right, it says, Mushroom tells us that Hammer celebrated by beating one of the queen's household knights to death on a brothel on the Street of Silk when the two men quarreled over the maidenhood with the young virgin while off the White Road drunkenly through the alleys of Flea Bottom, caught in naught but his golden spurs. Sorry. So like, I think both characters are being portrayed completely different at this point. Now, again, we won't get into spoiler territory yet, but for those of us that do know the book, we know kind of what's going to happen, especially with Templeton, which I want to say we're going to maybe get as well going into episodes 4 and 5. So it is very interesting. But again, we're looking at Rhaenyra in particular. Right in the book, she is again much more harsh after taking King's Landing. Even though she is still grieving, she's paranoid. Like obviously we know that, oh, all the money's gone. She has no idea where it went. And it's like the one person that might have known Iron Rod is now dead because he's been decapitated. She is financially desperate in the book, and she starts to rule based on the punishment, suspicion. Everything is getting taxed, right? Everything. So it is quite odd that they deviated from that. And I think the book is basically saying that Rhaenyra is not a noble victim. She is a tragedy based on everything that's kind of happened to her by this point. Because she's not a person that is beloved by the people. She's not the people's queen. And even though she tries to be, and that's why I was kind of I don't say intrigued, but I was like, oh, they're literally going the route of like a politician here. Like, let me go out to the people, to the poor folk, and start to give them food. It's like, it's like when you see politicians, they go like to your local, restaurants or whatever. It's like when Trump, and other politicians again, just it's like they would go to like McDonald's or whatever it is, and start serving food and everything of the sort. So that's what it seemed like to me. But again, she throughout this entire episode is struggling. She's like zoning out. There's that like high pitched ringing. If there's one thing I did like, it was like the sound design in this episode. Again, it's just sort of insinuating like what's happening with her mind. She's just like not hearing the conversations. She's kind of just getting like, anxiety attacks, I think. And even when she's sitting on the Iron Throne, she starts kind of like, scratching the arm. And I'm like, hey, don't want to get, cut your hand on there like your pops did. But it is really, really interesting. And especially when all the townsfolk start coming with questions and like, hey, we have all these problems that she has no idea. She's not prepared for any of this. A baby kissing tour. The way they're going on the show, it's like they're putting forth the blame is on men for not preparing Rhaenyra to rule. Right. And she's even like, I think it's even Lord Corlys is like, hey, what about your council on Dragonstone? She's like, nah, F them. Don't need them. They're traitors. And it's like, lady, you need all the help you can get. Why the hell are you trying to forsake people that kind of want to help you out? So, all right, later, Waylon. If you come back, we'll see you, but not enjoy your writing. I think they're making a very sad, poorly written attempt to make it look like she's just a woman trying her best in a man's world. And obviously this episode was written by a woman. But yes, I think that's kind of what they're trying to do, Suka. So, what's up, Kazi? She's a great leader, but doesn't understand politics like Daenerys. The thing about Rhaenyra is, right, she's never been prepared for this. Her father never prepared for this. There wasn't some sort of smooth transition. She doesn't have a legitimate hand to the throne. And even though Daemon is trying to assist her, Daemon would probably be a better fit. The thing with Daemon is that Daemon is a conqueror. You hear Daemon saying, yeah, you got to kill Darren still, just FYI. And she's like, no, can't do that. I gotta, we'll just send them to the wall. Funny thing about that whole ordeal, which we will get into, but yeah, exactly. Her counsel was right about everything. What's up, Kyle's art? I agree, but the show isn't doing a great job of discerning her dilemma with coming into power. Yeah, again, and you get a better sense of that in the book, right? And that's again the one thing that I think they're struggling with to convey in the show, because for context, in the show, right, she is being written more sympathetically, like, oh, she's a tragedy, she's a victim, she's struggling, we need to sympathize with her more. She wants to help the small folk and help feed the city, screw the nobles, help the poor. And it's like, well, avoid any unnecessary bloodshed, try to maintain this moral control. But instead of being cruel, she's overwhelmed. And I think by, again, using this whole rat fest dinner surprise for the nobles, for them hoarding food and holding out on everyone, it's like, the problem is that it reverses the harsher settlements in the book, and where I think, again, sure, her rule of taxation and suspicion is the unpopular opinion amongst the people, but I think it does make her a better character. So it's like, yes, dramatically, kind of seems like it's like their approach, again, like they're just trying to create drama for a TV show here, but as an adaptation, I think she's softened as a character, and I don't like that. I think the danger in the show deviating from the book is that it might be delaying this dark turn of her, which I still hope happens. And instead, it's like she's becoming morally compromised now. It's like, okay, the show version of Rhaenyra wants to be a tragic ruler under pressure, while the book ruler wants her, I'd say the book version of Rhaenyra allows her to create her own tragedy because of the things that she's forced to deal with. So, Sherry, how's it going? How's your day? Viserys was serious about Rhaenyra following him. He'd have had her by his side at all times, made her regent when he was too ill to rule, and just want to play with his little statues and miniatures, right? Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good point, Dominic, because I think if you're trying to prepare, I don't want to quite say that use the word grooming, but I think if you're trying to, again, prepare anyone, be a mentor to them, like, hey, one day you're going to rule, let me show you how it's done, right? Like, and as any rightful ruler should do, like knowing that I'm not going to be here forever, especially when, she's older, like in season 1, when it does the time skip between episodes 5 and 6. Cool, now she's older, but Viserys is, on the way out. We know he's not going to be around for very many more episodes, or that many more years in the universe. So maybe now's a good time to start teaching you things. How do you deal with the nobles? How do you deal with the small folk, the lowborns? How do you deal with the people in King's Landing that are around you on a daily basis? Like, who are you going to be speaking with, right? Who are you going to choose on your small council? So, like, those are all important questions. It's like, when a president gets elected into office, like, you're choosing all your seats accordingly, so Viserys, to that degree, was not a good king. And I don't want to say he wasn't a good father, but he did slip up. He again, he wasn't perfect, but he did make mistakes that should have been circumvented by, again, even to how he treated Daemon as his brother. But, yeah, she didn't trust the Maester, but she didn't bring her own Maester from the Black Council. Yep. For a second, I thought, oh man, she's gonna kill this Maester. But he's like, don't tread on the faith, because that's a fight you don't want. I think they're specifically blaming men for not preparing her. I think it's more blaming men for causing problems. It's Rhaenyra's fault for leaving King's Landing and not preparing herself. She could have stayed and fought, I guess, right? Norm Macdonald, that joke was actually written by a woman. Now you don't know how to feel. I'm just joking. I don't hire women. R.I.P. to the king, Norm Macdonald. What's going on, Corbo? I haven't read this part of Fire and Blood on purpose, so I have literally what's to come. Yeah, and I won't go farther than what's um what's in the rest of this chapter, which is probably coming with Tumbleton, and I don't want to get too much into the spoiler territory. Like at the end of this, towards the end of the stream, we'll talk more about and we'll go through and watch the trailer for episode 4. But and I understand. Honestly, when they were kind of alluding to the imagery of rats, I was like, are they saying, well, for those of us who have read, it's not quite a rat, if you will. There's betrayal of sorts, and that's all I'm going to say. No spoilers. I don't know if that's what they were alluding to ahead of time, but also I'm like, are they going to change something and say that there's a rat amongst them already? Which I'm like, man, that'd have been super quick to have. Like, she just got there. She hasn't even been officially sworn in, and now there's already a rat. That would have been kind of weird. So, so is the consensus these deviations from the source material are bad? I haven't read the book, so I'm flying completely blind on the show. I think the problem with the deviations from the book, Drac, is it changes a lot of the characters' personalities and agency, and I think it kind of just, again, I'm not saying that every deviation is a bad thing, but there's some things that just make better sense for the sake of adaptation to TV. But again, I think trying to make Rhaenyra be more sympathetic, or have us be more sympathetic to Rhaenyra, where she's more cruel in the book, it's like, maybe we want to see that. I mean, Cersei was cruel when we all didn't complain for the most part. We're like, oh, we hated her, but like that was the choice. Personally, I feel like the deviations of the source material in general are bad. If you're representing someone else's IP and take creative liberty, kind of not a good look. I agree, right? That's sort of like you're taking the source material and going like, based on the source material of George R.R. Martin. There's the only thing at that point that it's based are the freaking names. Everything else that happens in the book or in the show is different. So really, if we just take the names away, just give them all the names at that point, right? But obviously, then you can't. Yeah, you have a problem further down the line. They really dumbed down Daemon in this episode. You never a dragon behind like that. Yes, Darren the Daring, as he's called later on, right? So, and again, that was the one thing that came as a surprise. I was like, oh, we start off with Ormond bending the knee to Daemon Targaryen. And then with the 2 Dragonseeds, right? It's with Ulf and Hugh. And I'm like, so he's already taken Tumbleton? And what's going to happen with Tumbleton? Also, why would Darren Targaryen be there? His dragon's there. But you think he is until you realize that Alicent's like, that ain't my kid. I want a DNA check. And which that part kind of annoyed me. I don't know why. I mean, it's not in the book. So again, they're just creating things, again, just dragging it out, trying to be like, oh, look, you've been deceived. I don't know if that was the imagery of the rat. Like, is Ormond the rat? I don't know. Yeah, some deviations are good, like Viserys and Hugh, but other deviations are horrible, like Rhaena and Chief cutting out multiple battles. Alicent and Rhaenyra are making the plan. Yeah, like, again, Alicent was initially chained with golden chains, right? And she's just sort of held captive in one of the rooms with Helena the Mad. But she's kind of free to walk, and she almost just starts to, almost have some, I don't want to quite say friendship, but I mentioned this last week where I was wondering if that was the route they were taking. Like, are they basically going to start saying, oh, they're childhood friends. They can't really hate each other that much, right? Even though, again, one of the deviations from last week we talked about is that it wasn't Alicent or rather than the show, Allison was like, here are the keys. I did everything. I let you in, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, it was actually Daemon in the books that was allowed to have that passage and have her take King's Landing. He also wouldn't allow the White Worm to get with all this shit either. 100%. Yeah, all this extra stuff with Mysaria, I'm like, nah, man, cut it out. Do you think reading or watching is a better experience? I'm assuming more depth reading, but watching is a unique experience. Good question, Corbo. And I think, you know, it's one thing to either like I've read the book a couple of years ago, before season 1 aired, and when technically I read it during COVID, but then I reread the chapters where they were going to be starting House of the Dragon, which is like halfway through the bloody book anyway. But as I've been doing in, you know, watching the episode as it airs, and I've been going back and rereading it, and just realizing, oh yeah, this is not in the book, or this is not in the show, vice versa, and kind of just taking notes up until Tuesday nights here. But you know, the book reads more historically, and it's not a novel like the Song of Ice and Fires, right? So there is some dialogue, but it, you know, a lot of the dialogue is all extra in the show. So, and I understand that, but there's also a problem with some extra things that are happening, right? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to really talk spoilers because I don't know if some of the things that are going to happen with Aegon's son, but you know, I assume we're going to see some extra stuff with like Kristen Cole, because we know again like Kristen Cole's like, okay, we're going to march to Harrenhal, of course, but yeah, there's some interesting changes that I don't appreciate. You know, so I don't think it's bad if we've already read it, right? And yeah, I agree with this. Sheep Stealer and Rhaenyra, one of the worst changes. And then yeah, leaving Mailer out of the show altogether. So that was one thing I was going to allude to, Dominique, is that I don't know if we're actually going to get what happens to Maelor in the book, because the people be like, oh, it's too gruesome, it's too harsh. Like, yeah, I can understand. Child's head gets smashed and they were like, just burn the head. It's kind of gnarly. Didn't someone Mysaria or a personal guard imply that there are green agents still around? Yes. God, who was it in the show? And dude, that's what I was saying last week. Like, Allison is going to end up being, I don't want to quite say the voice of reason, because, you know, it's not, there's got to be some sort of downfall there, but I do think Allison isn't going to be like some sort of prisoner. And I think Rhaenyra, if anything, that's going to be possibly true from episode 3 here, that she's going to start to maybe speak with Allison more, and how she handles things, right? It's just like, what, you know, what was it like? You know, you handled it, you know, you were technically, you know, queen while my father was ill. You were handling it all. What did you do? Right. And so she explains, you know, what you're going to have to do, how you're going to have to handle things. You can't please everyone, right? You're going to have to make some tough decisions. And so I think Allison, yeah, might be this sort of voice of advice to her, offer some sort of wisdom, which you've got the wisdom coming from Daemon, and you're just completely ignoring it. And he's like, all right, peace, I'm going to fly out of here, you know. Which, again, that's another deviation that we're not going to see. Well, we may, right? Because in the book, they're trying to find Aemond and Vhagar. But it's Daemon and Nettles on Sheepstealer who are looking for Aemond. And guess what? Nettles is in the book, so we know that's not going to happen. So I am quite curious as to whatever the hell is going to happen with Sheepstealer moving forward, honestly. And yes, I will say, Aemond is he looks cool. I think the guy who's playing him is going to fulfill that rather well. But for someone who's as vocal about Joe, he likes studios messing with his IP. He knows how to sign off on allowing them to keep doing it again and again. Yeah. Yeah, George, sorry. And the other thing too, like George was heavily involved in season 1 and then just like I'm out. It's like, dude, wouldn't you want to stay more like this is like your second chance here to stay more involved? No, I don't know if they're like, we don't care what you're saying, George. We're still going to do this. And he's like, well, if we're not going to listen to me, then yeah, I might as well peace out. And I don't know. And obviously, he's probably not going to say that because he's getting a paycheck, probably. So he's not going to bite the hand that feeds him. Although maybe if he just finished his freaking book and then worked on the 7th book and then maybe finished the Hedge Knight series as well, people would probably buy his books. And there's money. Yeah, what's up, Jacob? How you doing, brother? Pretty much figured out what's coming up, given her not rewarding the people most loyal to her life, not letting a certain dragon seed go to a certain summon from another city. Yeah. And again, I don't know if that dragon seed is going to react the same way. I almost assume that some of those decisions are going to change. I forgot, but was the imposter actually sitting on Tessarion when they were all lined up in front of Daemon? If so, is it even possible that the dragon would allow anyone but Darren to sit on? I don't think anyone was sitting on it. It just looked like the what do you call it? It was just like the saddle. But I think it's a good question. Like, okay, so if we have Darren, what are you gonna do with the dragon? Like, you can't just walk the dragon back. So that is a good question. Does anyone remember Rhaenyra's youngest song, Aegon Viserys? I think the writers forgot about them. I think Rhaenyra mentions them in the book, or sorry, in this episode. Like they bring Viserys to me or to King's Landing, right? I don't know if we're gonna see them still. Are we all agreement that the writing is almost entirely gone down the shitter, or is anyone holding on to the semblance of hope? I think some of the maybe the bigger parts may still happen, Suka, but I think a lot of everything else, again, I think the agency of these characters are going to change, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Tumbleton. I'm not going to go down that path just yet for people who haven't read the books. But it's like we haven't even seen I don't even know if we're gonna get Cannibal either. But speaking of other characters though, I think Daemon, right? In the book, I just saw his name. He's obviously, I mean, Daemon is arguably one of the best characters. But as strategic and independent he is, like his role in the book is obviously just debating about world conquest with Rhaenyra and more about the military action. Like he's obviously trying to get her to understand like the political influence in the book. And obviously like he has a connection to Nettles and the Riverlands. And so I'm wondering, because we don't have Nettles, will there actually be a connection to Daemon and the Riverlands? So in the book, yes, he's ambitious, but he's not like, it doesn't really stage him as like this person who is trying to pitch, this Targaryen empire to Rhaenyra. But in the show, he's very antsy. I think like he wants to push. We think how far we can stretch. Like he says, he starts speaking of Valerian and High Valerian to her, right? Like, oh, we can go to Essos and Bravos and even this land where men can fly, men have wings and can fly, right? And obviously he's talking about the dream that we all know about, A Song of Ice and Fire. But like, yeah, it's like, we have 6 dragons. We could totally conquer everything beyond Westeros, Dorne as well. Sorry, I forgot Dorne. Like it's like he's not content with just stabilizing and controlling King's Landing. And even though we know when we see how he hears word of what's happened at Harrenhal, when he asks about Alice Rivers, and it's like there was no knowledge of her being killed or anything like that. So it is interesting. So he's got some sort of thought like, maybe she's still alive, but what is she doing? Um, and I do think in the show, Daemon has accepted Rhaenyra as queen, obviously, but I don't think he's accepted this in the box vision of ruling. Like his ambitions are far more than that. Like he has an idea. He aspires to be better than Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra's just like, well, I've got King's Landing. That's all that matters. It's like, you don't even know how to manage King's Landing. What makes you think you can manage the 7 kingdoms, right? And yeah, I think we'll hear about them next episode. And I haven't looked at the promo pics yet, so maybe we'll go through the promo pics that we did last week, and we'll go through the trailer for episode 4. I half expected Darren to pop off from behind a Greens banner because he had snuck into the Red Keep. Yeah, I thought like that was maybe going to be the rat. Like Darren is a rat. He's infiltrated. But what's going on, Thanos CEO? What is your opinion about Sunfire being called dead? Yeah, so that is another interesting predicament about some of the things, like the biggest deviations in episode 3 is Darren being fake, Ormond capturing Tumbleton early, Rhaenyra attacking the nobles and being this small folk champion, Addam and Alyn not being legitimized as Valerian, and again, like Rhaenyra and being too close with Alicent, but also with them basically saying, "Oh yeah, no, he's dead," right? So it's sort of like one of those things where she's saying, instead of saying that what was it, he's dead, then Miller, who like I think because they are going this route of saying that both Sunfire and Aemon are dead causes like the small folk to believe that there's not going to be this resurgence, like there's not going to be this what do you call it, backstabbing. There's not going to be some sort of comeback, if you will. But I don't know. I think it's problematic. I think it's another deviation from the book that shouldn't be deviated. We'll see how it turns out, though. I don't know if someone from the small folk are going to hear about it. It will be interesting. Yeah, like Sunfire isn't dead, just like Thailand. Nobody was seen. No death for main people. Yeah. I think both. I mean, we know Aegon's alive, but it is a choice for her to say like, oh yeah, no, Aemon and his dragon are dead. Too gruesome or harsh coming from Game of Thrones. It's funny to me. It feels like in that universe, nothing depicted can be cruel, brutal, or harsh. George, professional line crosser. Yes, I do think, again, for the sake of leaving out some things, even when they killed the kid, and then was it the season 2 opener, right? They kind of deviated from that a little bit too. Apparently he didn't like the direction they were planning to take the show, so he bounced. Yeah, there you go. It's like, oh, you're deviating from my source material. I don't know. I don't know why these people. And this would have been again, this is the type of book that you can take what George has written as a skeleton and add meat to it. You don't have to completely change things. That's the biggest like baffling moment. It's like, why are you trying to change what's written? Because you think you know better. You think you know better than the creator. Yeah, maybe if you finish his book, if only. I like to believe there's an alternate universe where George finishes books. Yeah, that's right. She says Joffrey. Yeah. Okay, I forgot which one it was, but shame they left out Stormcloud's fight. He won like a boss. Now he might just go out in the pit. Yeah. I bring up the youngest boys because Jace is going to fight the Gullet was an attempt to save them, right? Instead of just running off half cocked. Yep. Rhaenyra will probably send Daemon to kill Sheepster's rider, only to find his daughter. He'll probably get cover for her. I'll be so mad if that happens. I'll be so mad. But like, sure, and it's totally fine for theorizing. But dude, I could honestly see that, and if that happens, man, we're gonna rage about that shit. Because I do think Damon's probably gonna find Sheep Stealer and realize, oh shit, it's Rhaena. Oh, okay, so we can't say it's you. We're gonna have to like cut off your hair, do all these other things. It's probably not gonna work. But damn, Beans, you gotta wake up early as fuck, dude. Have a good day though. Happy Wednesday in advance. She has almost completely forgotten about the prophecy. Yeah, dude, like that's why I'm like, you got Daemon reminding you about the prophecy, and you're just like, I gotta figure out what to do. I gotta go talk to Alice, my old best friend from my childhood. Joffrey in the original series spoiled it, so they have to keep at least part of that scene. Yeah, I understand it, but Blood and Cheese was supposed to be a particularly brutal moment. Exactly, I would say it was supposed to be on par with the Red Wedding scene, dude, and that's what a lot of us were expecting. I think when I was on a panel at that moment too, we were expecting to see some brutal shit. Nope. Like, wow, okay, so we're just putting training wheels on this. Why doesn't he just sell all sorts of material with strings attached that he gets ultimate creative final say? He'd make a lot less money, but his IP would be intact and he's already rich. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. I think in terms of, you know, telling someone to write his book for him, because it's, I mean, again, not trying to be morbid here, but if he doesn't finish before he passes away, I don't know what is going to be in his will and testament about what happens to his material. You know, someone else is going to be like, oh, well, they're going to be able to get all my writings and they can finish it if they want. They can do what they want to it, right? I don't know if that's how it's going to be, but I would say for the sake of going, oh, you know what? Now this person could just publish it as is. Who knows? I'll be mad too if they make. Yeah, I think that'll cause a lot of outrage. But then no one would ask where Rhaena was. I think they should just be honest and be like, yeah, it was Rhaena, and then they could do whatever they want with it. Just use what you've already given us, and don't try to be like, oh, we didn't forget about Nettles. Like, we just wanted to change her name and change this other stuff. It's like, nah. I thought she did, but it was, yeah, it was just Jace, and then it was like, oh, well, now Jace can't tell Bela it's your sister. R.I.P. Let's see, who else would I want to talk about? Yeah, with Alicent in the book, they're enemies. Alicent is in prison, as I said, chained in gold. Their relationship is bitter, and there's no emotional advisory. There's no intimate scenes of like friendship like there is in the show. There's this emotional tie. She's a prisoner, but she can move freely. She has, maids. She gets food. She has a lot of freedom still. And again, she's like still being this advisor. And as I mentioned just, not too long ago, like Alicent is telling Rhaenyra, like, you're going to have to make some tough choices, maybe horrible, depending on who it is and who it affects. But then when Rhaenyra has this kind of a slight change of heart, be like, all right, Alicent, I have to tell you something. We've had your son here for the last 2 days. She's like, what? How could you do such a thing? And then she's like, okay, come check out your son before we send him to the wall. And she's like, I love that look. She's like, that's not my son. You don't recognize this boy, do you? Nope. And we bleached his hair. And then the kid who finally won't say a damn word starts speaking and is like, they have my mom and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, where have you heard that before? So I really think it kind of depends on how much you like the deviation from Allison's character. Again, it is a deviation technically based on her character. And I'm not going to say that again, I think the chemistry between Olivia Cook and Emma Darcy is good. But again, I think what's happening in the show feels a bit forced because in the book, they are past the point of reconciliation, right? Like it doesn't matter at this point. Like we're not going to be friends. I'm not going to give you any advice and wisdom. We're done with that. Have fun ruling. Figure it out. I had to, right? Like that's what Allison would probably should have said in the show, but she's like, okay, let me get a pen. I'll start giving you some bullet points. I thought you did when I rewatched the scene in Bailey of Bale when she realized Sheepsteader was too big, but she never saw the writer. Maybe that was it. It was also a lot of smoke, so who knows? But female writers are turning this into some soap opera riddle with melodrama. Did you notice that they turned the line about Rhaenyra bleeding on the Iron Throne to it being a better period? Yep. Yep. I was reading about that. And I was like, oh, yeah, they totally didn't have that in the show. Which I think we said that last week when I was like, I wonder who wrote these episodes. So episode 1 was written by Ryan Condal, Battle of the Gullet. Episode 2 and 3 were both written by same person, Sarah Hess. I guess now we can just go by Wikipedia, but I guess now we have the details of who has written and directed the rest of the episodes. So next week, for episode 4, written by David Hancock. Not sure what he's done. Episode 5 is Philippa Goslett. I have no idea what else she's done. And then episodes 6, 7, and 8, or sorry, 6 and 7 are written by David Hancock and Shyam Poppet. And then 7 is Philippa Goslett and Zenzel Price. Season finale was written by Ryan Condal and Ty McKell. No idea. Philippa Goslett. What has she done? Wow, it doesn't seem like she's really done much. 52 from UK. She was a showrunner for The Nevers, taking over for 2 months after the departure of Joss Whedon. I don't know why Wikipedia's not giving her everything she's done. It was more on IMDb. But again, yeah, too many. Listen, I think there's just too much stuff. Okay, so she's done Little Ashes, whatever the fuck that was. 12 episodes of a TV series called The Nevers. And then she's done 10 episodes on House of the Dragon so far. So, yeah. Sorry, she's doing episode 5. So, yeah. Turning Alicent from evil stepmom to jealous best friend was a terrible choice. I agree. The dance is between Rhaenyra and Aegon, not Rhaenyra and Alicent. Yep. It's true you can tell which episodes are written by Sarah Hess. Dude, I agree. And so let's do this, right? For episode 4, written by David Hancock, let's see how it compares from a writing standpoint. Why the fuck did she play cool to protect her son? This is not my son. Seems really odd to deviate from the source material this much. What would prompt that decision, I wonder? Self-entitlement. Just this. I mean, it's happened so much. I mean, two other perfect. Actually, there's. I could list. Let's look at some other perfect examples. Star Wars, everything from Kathleen Kennedy for the entire sequel trilogy. Wheel of Time, which I've never read those books, but I've seen a lot of outrage, and obviously that shit got canceled after three seasons. And there's 14 books. So again, what could have been an amazing show could have gone for like what, maybe 15 seasons, right? Could have been great. Now they were saying 8. Couldn't even get halfway because he started deviating from the damn book so much. The Witcher, we all know how that turned out. Rings of Power. They just want to just change it to make it their own. It's like they don't appreciate the creator of these IPs. In episode, yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Rhaenyra didn't get cut by the throne. She just got period blood on it. What the hell? Yeah, so dumb. Sidebar. What do you think of Vox Machina season 4? I have not watched Vox Machina yet, but I have caught up. I haven't watched the newest episode of X-Men 97, but I watched the first 3 episodes of X-Men 97 last Thursday or Friday. I liked them. Yeah, I mean, I was a little hesitant about season 2 after like they kicked out Bo DeMeo, but yeah. Witcher, Willow, Indiana Jones. Oh yeah, Star Trek, Indiana Jones with the Dial of Destiny. Even my super lib borderline woke coworkers hated how Wheel of Time was done. Dude, and that's the thing. That's when you know you done fudged up. When you start offending people on any side of the fence. Yeah, these writers want to create something impactful as these IPs, but can't. They've got no imagination. They're not creative at all. So they're taking someone else who had creativity and trying to subtract what's in it and then add their own bullshit. And it's like, y'all don't understand what's happening here, right? Oh yeah. How can I forget? Marvel, DC, everything James Gunn is doing, trash. Everything that happened after Infinity War and Endgame, trash. It's pathetic. The other thing I didn't like in this show, in this episode, was with Corlys, Addam, and Alyn, right? Nice little intimate dinner scene. Corlys is like, just in the book, Corlys petitions for his sons, his bastard sons, to be legitimized. After number 1, Addam has claimed sea smoke, and Alyn, who's more of a shipmate, but he doesn't want them to be publicly claimed as his own sons in the book, because they are presented as Leonor's bastards, right? But in the book, while Jace was alive, he supported the request, and in the book, Rhaenyra grants it. Addam becomes Addam Velaryon. Addam Velaryon, or Alyn Velaryon as well. Now in the show, of course, it's a lot more confrontational. Even at the dinner table, Corlys is like, "Hey, they're my sons. Can you please legitimize them?" It's like, I can't do it just yet, because if I legitimize this, it would draw a lot of attention, about other rumors, perhaps, with like Jace, Luke, and Joffrey. And then Corlys is like, yeah, your sons were bastards. And everyone's like, I was like, damn. I did not expect that. I did not expect that. So again, for the show that has to be about drama, it worked in that sense. And obviously, but again, the problem is that you're now creating a conflict between Corlys, who is literally giving everything. He even says that right in the episode. It's like I everything I had has been burned. I've lost my fleet. Yeah, I almost died. You know, I've done everything to serve you and help you get back here. The least you could do is just legitimize my two kids. I lost my wife. What else do I have? You can't just do that. You can't knight Addam and be like, Addam Valerian of Driftmark. Can't even do that. And, you know, to that extent, you know, it makes Corlys a lot harsher in the show than it does in the book. And what it does to Rhaenyra is it makes her isolated. So, and I don't know if there's not trying to go into the spoilers here, but I don't know if that's going to change things down the line. But we shall see. Yeah, in the Dragonseeds between Ulf and Hugh, right? In the book, they're harsher. They're just like a catastrophe waiting to happen. And not going into, again, spoilers yet. Maybe we'll see what happens in the next week or two. But it's like, man, they weren't given enough time. You kind of just see them being legitimized. Like, okay, now they're knights. They kind of get some small things. And yes, Rhaenyra says, I hear you, Hugh. Let me get settled first, and then I promise I'll tend to you. But who knows how long it's going to last? It's like I think that what's happening in the show is that they're trying to like plant this resentment between Ulf, Hugh, and Addam together, all knighted, but like it wasn't a ceremony. It was like in a courtyard, right? So they're, you know, aside from Rhaenyra and Daemon being there to witness it, like, just doesn't work, right? And even then, Ulf was like, "Hey, like, what should I wear?" Like, I'm kind of thinking, you know, the Targaryen route, and they're like, "Before you say, mate, you ain't no Targaryen." It's like, well, I mean, kind of am, you know. So, nah, you can't be Targaryen. And Hugh, yeah, you're a blacksmith. Cool, we'll call you Hugh the Hammer, and then Addam of Hull. And like the way she even says it, she's like, Addam of Hull. Anyway, Daemon, what should we do? And he's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's proceed. Which I don't know, I kind of felt bad for Addam. I was like, man, just call him Valerian already. Get it over with. And again, I don't know if this is going to have a poor payoff yet. Again, I'm trying to avoid spoilers. But those of you know what happens. But I think what the show is even conveying is that Rhaenyra is underestimating people in her house or in her presence that carry a military advantage, right? It's like saying we've got 6 bombers, right? We've got 6 bombers, Black Dorito chip bombers, but we're gonna piss off 3 of the pilots. What might they do? If you want people to be loyal, respect them. Otherwise, you know, people can just walk away. You never know. So I don't know what's going to happen in the show, but there's not enough that is kind of speaking to how they actually see Rhaenyra in this episode. Because I think if anything, they're just being treated like weapons, right? They're not being treated like men, not like knights yet. So we'll see what happens. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Okay, yeah. Wednesdays. That's right. My bad. They're respecting the Odyssey like they did Rings of Power. Yay. Yeah, that's another one that's all screwed up. I texted the movies so I go to the movies with them. Was like, what tickets you want to get for both one Odyssey and Spider-Man? Dude, it's funny. I was looking at tickets and like seating choices for the Odyssey and Spider-Man, and there are more tickets that have been purchased for Spider-Man than the Odyssey. Dude, exactly. It was a very lame excuse not to legitimize them. And the show Jace comes off as very against legitimizing the Dragonseeds. Right. And so you've also deviated from Jace at that point too when he was alive. It's like, bro, you're a fucking bastard too. Why are you trying to like, Jace was dude, like in the show Jace was a hypocrite. And book Jace was a lot better than show Jace. They had to deny him the simple request to create more cheap ass drama. She should know better than anyone about his situation. Oh, I know, and that's why. Like, I mean, I props for Corlys saying and calling her out. Like, you're yelling that to the would be queen. He got my respect for doing that. It's something Corlys wanted to take a stand against the entire concept of bastardry. Yeah, it's like if you were totally against it. Remember, it was his brother that was in the presence of Viserys that said, when Daemon was like, say it, bastards, and then he cut off his head, right? It's like, you ain't going to cut off Corlys' head, though. Right, exactly. Some people say she did do it because it would piss off Ulf and Hugh, and they're a simple solution for that. They need to be pissed about something, and she can just say Corlys acknowledges them. Yeah. Would I be happier if it changes? Well, hold on. Would you be happier if it changes things or not? Do you see the effect in character meaning things down the line need to change too? Yeah, I mean, without getting into spoiler territory, I think when you look at some of the choices that are presented in this episode, it's like, well, you know why some things are going to happen in season 3, potentially. And there's different things that should happen in season 3 that I think are going to get dragged out to season 4. But I think my concern is that every character is going to start to get changed for the worse, and I don't know if they're going to be a way to like circumvent these changes to make it seem like, oh, actually we're not deviating too far in the book, or we're going to be able to come full circle. Excuse me. And I always make this argument too, being a big Tolkien fan. The trilogy wasn't 100% accurate either. But some of the things that Peter Jackson and company changed, right? Like they still had in mind to honor Tolkien, right? Even though Christopher Tolkien didn't like those changes, but I understand why. But a lot of scholars also appreciated those changes because it made sense. The writing itself, even though characters were changed, right? Like it wasn't Arwen who rescues Frodo, but like it's like, well, listen, Glorfindel's a powerful dude, so like, but some of those things made sense. It didn't deviate from the character, didn't make them any lesser than they were. I mean, I was just even thinking too about in Two Towers. So it just popped in my head. Two Towers, right? When Éomer and the Rohirrim see Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, Aragorn announces who he is with like honor, right? He's like, I am Aragorn, son of Arathorn. I'm the rightful heir to the throne of Gondor. Like, I am Isildur's heir. That's known at that point in time. He doesn't kind of like keep it quiet, but him keeping it quiet doesn't really deviate from Aragorn's overall character. So some of those things again like make sense and like and still fit. It doesn't change his overall character, or in the moment or in the next coming scenes or in the movie as a whole. So, but bring me your noble parents and legitimize you guys too. Obviously, Ulf and Hugh can't. So it's no big deal. Stupid plot point. I know. That was another retarded decision on her part. Just to let the man fly the dragon and get his wife back, dude. Like, I don't understand like why he can just say like my request is simple. I'm not asking for a castle. I just want my wife and kid back. Like, I have a big dragon too. No one's gonna mess with me. You can tell Irv certainly feels like he's not getting what he thinks he's due. Oh, 100%. And now you could say, look, you have a dragon that no one else aside from like maybe like two other people can ride. So, having a dragon is a responsibility, but it's also a bit of a luxury too. But that's not what he wants. He just wants his family back. I want my family back. I can't help but think Corlys should have come out against bastards inheriting a long time ago. Well, I think he was missing, right? So, yeah, please God, keep these female riders away from Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 2 and 3. Seriously. The Lord of the Rings trilogy get the spirit of the story and was way better written than this. Oh, for sure. Oh, dude, I know. I love that trilogy so much. Again, it's the greatest trilogy of all time. And obviously some of the best books ever written of all time too. And we also talked about Mysaria, Lady Misery already. But yeah, in the book, she's the unofficial Mistress of Whispers. And the book also suggests that she resumes, again, her intimate relationship with Daemon. But that's really not happening in the show, is it? In the show, she's closer to Rhaenyra, both as an advisor and this romantic influence. And again, this is creating tension with Daemon because Daemon's kind of like, saying stuff for her at the table, and Rhaenyra's having this anxiety attack, and and it's like Lord Corlys gets up and like walks to the window, and Rhaenyra says, Lord Corlys, what do you think? And she's, I agree with the queen. And he's like, you're all useless. And it's like, man, shut up, Rhaenyra. What are you doing? But yeah, it's and again, I think it's Mysaria that is the one that says the small folk matter. So again, I think just everything about her as a character is just not working in the show at all. And I think too, and I'm only going to mention Aemond, because at this stage of the war, in the book, this isn't a spoiler or anything like that, but in the book, Aemond isn't to be trifled with, right? He is definitely a force to be reckoned with, especially having Vhagar. But the fact that he takes Harrenhal more brutal than Daemon does is connecting with Alice Rivers, and he becomes this roaming weapon of destruction, right, in the Riverlands, which I don't know if we're gonna see that next, maybe, but he's all about pride, rage, and power, right? And in the show, but we don't see him in episode 3, but just as a comparison, because again, like reading this part in the book, I'm like, okay, well, yeah. We didn't see anything about Aemon in episode 3 here, but it's kind of letting Ormond have this focus instead of Aemon in episode 3 here. And I think we'll see Aemon and obviously Vhagar in episode 4 here. But I am kind of curious to see what's going to happen between him and Alice. So, it would have been nice to see a little bit more, but I think that they're just trying to like divide some of the characters, and this is going to have more maybe we'll see more Aemon than in probably more Kristen Cole than maybe the Rhaenyra side of things. But who knows, honestly. The actress playing Lady Rahan is really hot. What is her name, actually? Hold on. I don't know her name. Actress. Lucy Boynton. What's she been in? Let's see. I don't know if I've ever seen anything that she's been in before. Oh, she was in Bohemian Rhapsody. Never saw Barbie, so can't say can't say that. She's definitely been in stuff I've not seen before as far as movies go. She's in Copperhead in 2013. I don't recognize her in that though. Let's see, television. She's been in some other television. Aside from let's see, United Seven Kingdoms. But yeah, no, she's an attractive woman. Mysterious is the worst character in the entire show. Yeah, I know. What's up, Sebrew? How you doing, brother? I think they're going to leave out the Daemon Mysterio affair because they want to present Daemon and Rhaenyra as a couple of goals. He would never cheat on Ray. Yeah, especially now being in King's Landing, right? I mean, you see them in bed together, so which I also find that to be interesting, like how Rhaenyra can't sleep in the same bed that her father was in as well. It's like, I guess I get that, you know. I feel like at that point, time has passed. You could probably get over it. I don't remember Madame Sylvie in the book, but she sucks in the show too. Yes. And yeah, Aemond is definitely a slave to his emotions in the show. He is he's a bit of a wimp. Like he's not this I just want to light everything on fire type of character as he is in the book. Which I don't think that spoils anything, but just saying. Kind of odd that her husband doesn't sleep in the queen's bed. Yeah, I'm like, where is she going? And then she goes to sleep in bed with Daemon, and Daemon's in a completely different area. And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't Daemon be in the same like bed chamber as she is? Like they should be same thing. I'm just glad Mysterio wasn't there, honestly. So I'm like, that's a W in my eyes. But yeah, you know, again, it just the interesting turns and deviations. Again, this whole fake Darren thing was just quite odd. And I don't know. I think thinking forward, I don't know how that's going to matter a lot. Yeah, I think the problem is going to come with like the logistics of Tessarion, right? Like of his dragon. Because I'm also like, okay, well, where the hell is he then? Was he not there? Was he hiding? And then maybe when like they started to like, you know, walk away, then like once okay, like the dragons are gone, then he comes out to take Tessarion. Don't know, right? Because we don't see it on screen. Again, the whole other thing too with Ormond just being there, especially at the start of the episode. It's like, oh, well, Templeton is an important location, but Ormond has already captured it and is basically holding that entire city hostage, right? And again, that gives Rhaenyra this moral dilemma because it's like, well, and I think she's talking to, it wasn't Miss Syria. Correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't Miss Syria that she was talking to about this. I think it was one of the one of like the handmaidens, where she's like, well, I could just attack the city, and it's like, yeah, but if you burn the enemy, you're going to kill civilians. But if you hesitate, you're going to look weak. So what do? Right? Yeah, and I think the other thing too we mentioned with Rhaenyra being this giver of the small folk. I was trying to find it real quick, but when it starts talking about what is being taxed, some of the wording is quite hilarious. There's definitely a word in there I cannot say on stream. I probably could say it, but I'm not gonna. Actually, here it is. Let's see here. Because it's talking about Jaehaerys the First. Let's see. Tax on property was decreed. Rich merchants and their manses or beggars and hovels all must pay, depending on how much land they took up. Not even whores are safe. The see you next Tuesday tax will be next, and then the tail tax. The rats must pay their share. Hilarious. But yeah, Alza didn't sleep in the same chambers as Viserys. She would summon. That's right. Well, at that point, she was just way young too, right? Did Larys give Otto to them in the book? Because in the show, that is a very lost plot thread. If Alicent found out, she would have killed him. I don't think so. I think Larys is already gone. But I could see if Alicent found out and threatened him, he would have a backup plan for multiple to spread lies and truths about her. If he was ever killed, but that's a what if. Yeah. So did they walk fake Daemon back to King's Landing, or did they fly him? And why not have Daemon order Daemon to have Tyrion follow them? I think I don't know what's going to happen with fake Daemon. Now he's just like an actual hostage, right? He's like a random boy pretending to be Darren, Alicent's son, which he's not. So, and who knows how much other information he has that they can give him, right? And I feel like you could probably see Rhaenyra going, if you tell us everything you know, where they might be, any details, which again, he probably doesn't know much, but she'll probably make some promise like, I promise we'll get your mother back, blah, blah, blah. But you also have to, swear fealty to me, bend the knee, and blah, blah, blah. The writers probably just forgot that they had Otto in the black cell. It's also weird that Rhaenyra and Daemon didn't question why he was in there. Yeah, they just found him in there because we found the next best thing aside from aside from Aegon. It's Alicent's father, so that'll do. They can kill him and give him to the son and sisters and say it's Aegon, but I don't see that happening. Yeah, because I think what was the minister was like, "Where's the body? Why didn't the son and sisters go and analyze the body?" So, well, yeah, it burnt up with his dragon, so can't do that. No can do. I just looked down. Yeah, One wit named Rhaenyra King Maegor with teats. And for 100 years after, Maegor teats was a common curse among Kingslanders. Hilarious. I'm trying to look at my notes here. Is there anything else I wanted to mention? Yeah, I'll try. The other thing I don't know why Daemon didn't also ask for Tessarion. Like, I'm pretty sure again if there's one person that can just go up to a dragon and have it follow it, it's probably Daemon. Which I thought it was going to happen. Like, oh, we're gonna take Daemon and his dragon, but I'm like, but how's that going to work with other things that are supposed to have Tessarion's involvement and Darren? So I'm like, again, it's all felt weird. I'm like, there's no way, like, this is all going, like, something's bound to just, backfire in King's Landing with this. Because at that point, I'm like, wow, they are really deviating from the books at this point. We're just saying, like, oh, we're going to hand Darren Targaryen over to you guys, and as a bartering tool with Alicent, your BFF and all that kind of shit. So, but yeah, let's bookmark it. So essentially, for people wondering and who haven't read the book, in this title of Dying of the Dragons, with again, it's called Rhaenyra Triumphant as well. There's still a good section left to still get through. So, oh shit, sorry. He's probably thinking without Tessarion is useless to the High Towers. Yeah, sure. It's like, yeah, we take away Tyrion, like no one else is gonna be able to ride it. So it's just like a sitting duck, just a giant duck that can also breathe breathe fire. Let me see. Let's look up let's see, House of the Dragon season 4 episode season 3 episode 4 promo pictures, right? Upcoming stills. Let's share the old screen here. 1 second, y'all. All right. Okay. Stills from episode 4. So she's obviously looking at some sort of map of Westeros, probably armies. I think this is the room with her council, giving her, there's her chair. Okay, Lord Corlys is still in armor. Be right out somewhere outside of King's Landing. Looks like he's getting ready to maybe ride somewhere. All right, Alyn is here. He's probably like, what do you mean I'm still not Alyn Velaryon? Even though here's all this Sea Snake's troops. Where are they going? Tumbleton? They going home? Alyn doesn't look too happy, but then again, I think he always has that face, that look. Okay, so father and son are having a little convo. Okay, cool. Daemon's probably like, woman, listen to me. A man give you strategic patterns to follow. Let me heed my advice. You are not doing well as a queen. Again, just paraphrasing here. Well, who knows what he's offering? Yeah, there's Kristen Cole. Looks like they're at Harrenhal. Probably looking at Vagar, perhaps. Yeah, what's up, Brent? How you doing, brother? Look at some stills for episode 4 next week. Yep, and here's the Green Army. So looks like they have probably went to Harrenhal and have probably now left to go ride elsewhere. Okay, not gonna get too into spoilers, but is it Templeton? Who knows? So Crispin Cole. This is a funny lore for those of you who know Kata, Short King. When I was kind of just joining and starting on YouTube, when I was part of uh, Nadia's stream because she was covering season 2. Kata was on that stream. It was the first time I met Kata, and he was like super duper like pro. I love Kristen Cole. Like he was. He even has this like fancy Crispin Cole shirt. Ask him about it. He's like in love with Kristen Cole. Yep. Foot bro Kata. Yep. Dude, I agree. Corlys and Daemon were the driving force behind episode 3 here, honestly. Yep. Butcher's Ball. Speaking of Kristen Cole, do you think we'll be getting the Butcher's Ball this season? I think so, as Mad Dog was saying. So I think that could be episode 4, but maybe not. But I do think we're going to get it in season 3. I think we're going to get this season though. Looks like he's in the woods, right? Probably making a pit stop with Cole. Be my guess. He's such a smug bastard. I can't stand Cole. I can't. Episode 5? Yeah, I could see it being episode 5. I could see it being episode 5. Which, does that mean it's being directed by Philippa Goslet, a woman? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe she'll do better than Sarah has. I don't know. Speaking of changes, Sir Queen Hightower isn't supposed to be breathing at this moment. That is very true. I'm hoping next up is all green, probably. Since we got none of that in episode 3 here. So Ormond looks pissed off. I wonder why that is. And then he just found out that his father, that Otto is decapitated. I try to think why else would he be pissed in this episode? I mean, he does have a good aura about him, I would say. But we'll see. Like, we haven't seen a lot of him acting either yet. So he could be like a nice reprieve from the deviations. Who knows? Hey. All right. There's Ulf. Drinking. Another shot here. Ulf. There's Helena. Her little daughter. How nice. How cute. Another shot of Helena here. Ah. We go to the Vale. Okay, so interesting. What do you think's going to happen in the Vale episode 4? You think she's going to give up Rhaena? Kind of curious. I really like Gwen's character. Another example of the show version better than the book. And I think episode 5 is when we get Tumbleton. Episode 4 will be catch up and lead up. Could be, yeah. Depends on how close he was to his Uncle Otto. Right, yeah. Maybe he's upset about that. Again, I don't know. I don't know what else it could be besides that. Do we think we get a major death next episode? Maybe episode 5. And yeah, she's going for the money. She's like, yeah, go to the have everyone in the Seven Kingdoms pay me. And yeah, it was said earlier that Daemon was trying to find sheep's litter, but you know, had Nettles been there the entire time in the show, then that would be a problem, would it be? Right? Thanks, Ryan. This bitch kicked the kids out, so she will definitely rat out to save face. I think so. I think so too. I don't like that they've taken Helena. She was just a genuinely kind and likable person in the book, not retarded or whatever, like she's in the show. Yeah, she's like in the show. It's like she's kind of like autistic. I'm like, y'all did her wrong, man. I think we got maybe 2 stills left. Again, look again. Here's Alicent being able to wander freely. She's not a prisoner. She's just a would-be advisor, apparently. You know. Yeah, she's definitely like this like gift of like foresight dreamer in the show. But what a still to end on. The book clearly says she's not on the freaking council, yet she's sitting at the council table. Stupid. Man. Why? Let's find the episode 4 trailer as well, shall we? Hold, please. I think this is it. Just queuing it up. Hold on. Yeah, watch this in 4K. All right, here we go. The worm, yeah. Boo, boo, boo. She looks exactly like her Sarah. Has just a complete villain. Yep. I know. Throwing apples at her. Yeah. Hopefully, Caraxes barbecues in each later. That would be fulfilling. We'll just start clapping at that point. That would be funny. Rhaenyra's like, I'm getting sheepstone. And I was like, oh, get the fuck away from my dragon, you tat. Yeah. All right. Here we go. We'll do the play pause so we don't get some BS copyright crap, but here we go.
Why seize Tumbleton? He dares me to rain fire down on a seat that raised my banner.
All right. So she acknowledges Tumbleton and dares her to rain dragon fire down upon it.
Does he mean to somehow win their support?
Ormond plotting and scheming against the queen bitch, as she's also referred to in the book. And then that's what Aemon calls her. If you know, you know.
We must guard our intent quietly. We must presume these men hold allegiance only to themselves.
Which, that's a cool shot there. That's a cool shot. So okay, so we saw Larys walking with Aegon. So I wonder how much we're going to see of them in this episode.
You river folk? I fucking hate river folk.
I fucking hate river folk. Nope, I'm actually Aegon the second. If you know, you know.
Our soldiers need to be paid, else there will be bedlam.
Name a master of coin. The people will soon discover are lacking resources. They can blame him.
Holy shit.
I just can't stand her acting, dude. I cannot stand her acting. Maybe they can blame him. Can we get another character in her stead, please? Remember when Daemon said he should have burned the Hightower army on the spot? Pepperidge Farm remembers. I know. That would have been the strategic way of doing it. You're at fucking war. Do you think Alice Rivers will get the Daemon is sleeping with Nettles acquisition plot? Nah. It sucks we're not going to get it, but yeah. They should probably shave Aegon's hair like he's trying to hide. I know. I know, Bogan. Dude, her accent is so bad. It's been bad since season 1. Then David goes, "Oi, shut up. See you next Tuesday." You're not even supposed to be at this damn council meeting. Baby Sarah Hell says self-insert. Ugh.
We seek the Prince Aemon.
If you know where he is, I'd advise you to be forthcoming.
He's actually sleeping in my bedchambers. We banged all last night. Just thought you should know that, Kristen Cole. Probably not going to be said, but it would be hilarious if that was the case.
Oh my.
What? What was that? What the fuck was that? Kristen Cole's like, "Hey, we're looking for Prince Aemon. Show us where he is, or there's gonna be problems." And she's just like,
To be forthcoming.
Oh my.
"Similar's Vhagar." Yeah, but they know Vhagar, right? Like, unless she thinks that they're not with Aemond. But like, doesn't she see like the banners they're fucking carrying? Is she autistic too? She might be. Or are they forcing her to have this accent? Dude, I have no idea. that was a choice that they did in season 1 that I gave early criticism for. I'm like, what is this accent? And who is this actress? Because you have like great acting from like Patty Considine, like way over here, and then her acting's like way down here. He called me mommy too. And that's right, he does like older women, as we know. Is it this ominous? It's like, ooh, dragon, yeah. Give us the gift, Slayer.
My purpose is to restore the rightful line to the Iron Throne.
It is the will of the gods.
Okay, so we'll get a decent amount of Orman, which is good. I think we're due to see a lot of Orman. Hoary old bitch, Vega. Okay, so is that a fire or is that well, dragon fire, I should say. And Orban's just like, yeah, let them burn. I think that's Vagar. Because the only other dragon that would be of that size is Vermithor, and I don't know why Vermithor would be there. The witch was smart in season 2, but it's an impatient child in season 3. Yes. Considine did turn an amazing performance. Dude, I don't know how he didn't get and win an award for that performance. I think he got fucking robbed. He does. That's what I was saying. Like, in the one still, I was like, Orban's got he's got some aura about him. Like, I don't know who this actor is. Let's see if I can find out real quick here. James Norton, English actor, born in 85, great year. Oh, his birthday's coming up July 18th. Look at that. Let's see, what has he been in? Let's see, film. Oh, he was in Rush. Okay. I don't remember him that. Let's see. I don't really know much of anything else he's been in. Never saw Bob Marley. Television. Let's see. What big shows has he been in? Like just one-off episodes. He was in some main roles of shows I'd never heard before, probably BBC shows called Grantchester and Happy Valley. Let's see here. Oh, interestingly enough, I mentioned earlier that I think the woman who's doing episode 5, Philippa Gosselaar, who worked on the show The Nevers, he was actually in The Nevers as a main role. So I guess there might be some decency there. I don't know. So I don't think he's super popular. But again, that doesn't always need to be the case for shows like this, right? As long as he just gives a good performance, which I mean, so far he does have that aura. So, and yeah, he definitely has that I'm an asshole vibe, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. A man crush. I mean, listen, it's like the men in this show have been cucked over. It's like it's about time he has some good like male representation. You know what I'm saying? Like we need some strong men. Even if a guy has to be an asshole, like I get that. Sure. He looks like he can slap a woman. You can slap. Sometimes you just need to slap a woman. You know? It'd be funny if like he's trying to talk and Allison is like trying to talk as well, and or maybe some whore. He's like, sorry, you need to shut up, woman. And he probably doesn't mess with the lowborn though. Grantchester was his big thing. Yeah, it seems like it was maybe back in was it 2014 or whatever that was going on. Rush was a great movie. I like seeing Hemsworth and other good productions like that. Netflix action movies. Extraction. Yes. Yeah, I like those movies. And yeah, Rush was a good movie. Yeah, I did see he did an episode of Black Mirror. Like he did like one episode there, one episode there, and so forth. So, um, dude, exactly. Like there's just too much. Again, women, I love you, but man, we definitely need some competent men and some actual masculinity in these fucking shows. He looks like what a theater actor is supposed to look like. He does. He does. Especially in this scene here. I'll rewind it like a little bit. It's just like, yes, let them all burn to death. I care not. Something like that. I don't know. I think that's it. Okay. So look, well, at least we're getting some Ormond Hightower. And I don't know. I wish we could see how long the run time was going to be, because that's always just an interesting tidbit of information to kind of wonder. But we don't even know what episode 4 is going to be called either. So not that the episode names have anything to do with like what's happening, but they kind of do give you an idea, especially when it's called Rhaenyra Triumphant. It's like it's what's called in the freaking book. So, but yeah, we'll see. So, I'm well, because I think the first 2 episodes were technically like 107 minutes or whatever. I don't know if that includes credits or not, but this episode was shorter. This one clocked in at 57. So I think if you factor out credits, intro, it felt shorter too, but do we ever watch the behind the scenes stuff? I do, just because I find it interesting to hear what like the director or like Ryan Condal will say, and like kind of like what the actors are thinking, because again, not that I really like kind of take notes, but maybe I should, just for a talking point, and how, because it's all deviations, right? They're just talking about, oh, like Allison's feeling this and like Rhaenyra's feeling that, and I don't think I did this past one though. Kim Burst Queen's Landing. Grace Randolph said she really liked what they did with Rhaenyra in episode 4. They pray the she said, Dominic, did she tweet that? Seriously? Hold on. Or was that in a video? Hold on. Well, I'm pulling up Grace Randolph's profile. Was she talking about it in maybe her episode 3 breakdown video, whatever it was? She gets early access to this stuff. Yeah, I'm sure she does. This is true. Yeah. I've been dreading episode 4 since last week. It was like an early review a few weeks ago because she got screeners. Gary and Mahler have been talking about it. Okay. I mean, at that point, if Grace Randolph is saying they like what happens with Rhaenyra, hold on. Because at that point, hmm. I am curious. Because if she's, because it's like if she's okay, I'm just reading. If she stays at Queen's Landing while they go to Tumbleton, like, what? How is she gonna like what they did with her? What's up, Rebel Rose? How you doing? I just know it's gonna hit the fan this week. Yeah, I'm trying to not to read out loud some of these things. But again, if I would imagine we're supposed to get Tumbleton. Again, this isn't a huge spoiler, but literally reading of the Battle of Tumbleton, we know much and more. However, 6,000 of the Queen's men formed up to face the Lord Hightower in the field under the command of Sir Garibald Grey. I don't know if we're gonna get the big battle or not in this any sort of battle, I should say, because it literally says that she stays behind because she can't. Her and Cyrax stay behind because they can't leave King's Landing unguarded. So if she stays behind at King's Landing, like how is she supposed? I mean, what the hell are they gonna do with it that makes her it's like, oh, I love what they did with her? What? She just became more sympathetic? No. Well, Grace Randolph is like a broken clock. She's right like 2 times a year, and that's about it. She complained about her not being more active with the male character, so I assume they were going to give her a girl boss moment. Oh Jesus, dude. Okay, maybe they change it so actually, she doesn't. Daemon is the one who stays behind in King's Landing, and she's the one that goes. That would be stupid. Man, I hate the fact that Nettles isn't in this. I think Rhaenyra goes to Tumbleton. I think she's the one who kills his wife, causing you know what. That could be interesting. Like, okay, so remember we just watched it in the beginning of the trailer where like Ormond thinks he can challenge me that I'm not gonna, that he's gonna hold the town hostage. Like, what if she's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna prove him wrong. I'm gonna get on Cyrax and we're gonna fly to Tumbleton. Yeah, dude, there might be massive book changes. I can already just tell. Stream title for next week: Book Lore is cooked. You're gonna skip first Tumbleton because Hightower's already taken the town. Yeah, yeah. What's up, Bootsel? How you doing? When do you think that scene with Rhaenyra will happen? Seems like they would try to stretch it out to the middle of next season. We haven't talked about it because we haven't been talking too many spoilers, but I would say I think that's going to be a season 4 thing. There's 2 things I think that are going to definitely happen in season 4. One with Rhaenyra, and then the other with the anagram. The anagram, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. She's gonna go on Cyrax. Look, I mean, you never know, but again, who knows what they're gonna do? Do you think Rhaenyra pulls a Mad Queen move on Tumbleton? That could be the aura image we see of Ormond. It's either her on Cyrax or it's Aemon on Vhagar. I'm not sure. The blockade killed the man's daughter. Now that she turns the most honorable men into villains. Yeah, it was her blockade. Remember, as it was pointed out to her in in episode 3. I think the aura images of Ormond as he commanded Darren to burn. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I said Aemon on Vhagar, but I could see it being actually Darren on Tessarion to burn the prisoners. Could be that, yeah. Because I think if it was Rhaenyra on Cyrax, I think he might have been a little bit more hesitant to stand there. I could be wrong though. Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting though to see what happens. So I'm just reading stuff. Yeah, it'll be interesting. So, but I mean, it's weird to say like I'm looking forward to it because in some cases like seeing the changes isn't satisfying, but talking with you guys definitely is satisfying. So, I am curious to see when Aegon will make an appearance again in this season. Do you think Darren will finally get some lines in the next episode? That is another good question because I was just looking at a list of characters. Because I don't even know if it's mentioned who's like what actor's actually playing Darren Targaryen. Do we know who's casted as Darren? I'm kind of curious. Like, I don't think it's legitimately. And I'm not talking about the one that was just in episode 3. I don't think the real. Will the real Darren Targaryen please stand up? Please stand up. Yeah, exactly. This is our Tuesday therapy session. Tuesday therapy. Yeah, TTs. That would be cool. It's Ormond Squire from episode 1. He's playing Link. Oh, is it really? Oh, Benjamin Evan. Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. He's 17. Well, that'll be interesting. That will be interesting. Well, this has been a good therapy session. I'm glad I could get some stuff off my chest and talk more with you guys about the deviations from this little history book we have here. We're beyond like, well, actually this is not the right marker. But we're like kind of halfway through. Actually, that's not even true for the actual story itself of how much we have left for this season, I should say, but or even the entire show for that matter, but because I wonder, yeah, we're gonna get like the aftermath. It'll be interesting, that's for sure. At least George is giving us the lore accurate stage play, right? Black, yeah. Only have 13 episodes left in the show. I know, like, there's a lot that still needs to happen, and like, we'll be halfway through the season next season, so, and then 8 episodes for season 4. You think we should have less episodes? I think it will be 2. I think it will be 2. Based on how there's still, I mean, I think there's still a lot to be determined, but I think based on what we've seen in episode 3 here, I think there's, and then the way her character is, I think they're going to change stuff about her. Their image. Wait. I imagine they're combining a bunch of battles and moving the order of things around. For sure. I mean, the fact that they have already gotten to the point where like Orban's already taken Tumbleton is sort of like, okay, so now what? Like, I think episode 4 is gonna be a little bit more revealing of how things are going though too. So we shall see. But I mean, you know, we'll see what Dave Hancock has for us as the episode writer. Hopefully it'll be better. I hope like next week is like one of the better episodes of this season. You know what I'm saying? It's like I wish we knew based on who was writing the episode. Like we could probably surmise what was going to be happening in the show, but we can't even do that. Or does she? She might live on, magically speaking. Maybe she turns into the 3-eyed raven. And then she's never dead. But yeah, I think yeah, everybody dies. That's true. I mean, if you think about it one way, Jon Snow is still dead in the book. So, you know. Oh, gosh. And we don't even know who else dies in the book that was still alive in the show. Crazy, right? Crazy when you don't finish what you started. But who knows? One day. Watch the one day, like, people care. Like, well, he's gonna like release the book. People aren't gonna care. That's one thing I'm actually really curious about when George finally. I think he still will. I think that one way, shape, or form, that book is going to get released. And like, yeah, I think we're going to get Winds of Winter. But yeah, to a sentiment that George is still alive with us, we shall see. But I am curious to see what happens. It's sort of like when I think there's 2 things that could happen when Winds of Winter comes out. The book could be completely different from the show, and people could really like what he has. And if he's not alive at that point in time, then he was never around to see that fans actually liked what he wrote, better what we got in the show. Now, he could release it and still be alive. And then at that point, it's like, yeah, it is still close what happens in the show. We don't really care. Or it's completely different still, and he's still alive, and people give him a lot of praise. But I'll be kind of curious. Yes, I did see that. It's been longer since the new release timeline when George released Game of Thrones, Dance of Dragons, 15 plus years ago. Crazy. Like Gary says, the dream of spring will always be that just a dream. Yep. Do you like forget about the 7th book? Personally, I think the show ending is how he's going to end the books. More fleshed out, of course. Seeing people's reaction to the show, though, he probably can't figure out how to change it. Well, like if you remember, he said he wanted there to be like 10 to 13 seasons, and like each season would have had 10 episodes at that point. So we got a short season 8 of 6 episodes. So let's just say, for example, we were to get the maximum amount of shows, 13 seasons, right? Obviously, it does present a little bit of an issue with actors getting older, looking older than they are, looking older than they're supposed to be in the book. But if you can get past that, then that's fine. Because again, who knows how much time he would actually equate to in the books. But aging aside, if you think about how how seasons 6, 7, and 8 were essentially and potentially sped up, then there would have been more that would have been fleshed out. And at that point, we'd have had what, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We would have had what, 54 more episodes of that show, which is crazy to think about. Even if it was like 10 seasons, 24 extra episodes, which I think could accomplish a lot. And I think too, like, if I remember correctly, this book is sitting at almost 1,500 pages, which again, correct me if I'm wrong, would be the longest book in A Song of Ice and Fire. And I was talking with a buddy about it. I'm like, he could technically just like release half of that as a book. And the Sorry Guys were changing it from 7 to 8 and just call it part 1 and part 2. I don't know. I think we know he's definitely sitting on Winds of Winter. And I think he's probably started and knows where the last book is and going, but he doesn't have it all fleshed out. So like, maybe a majority of it is there and he's just kind of sitting on it. But also the whole political landscape and everything has changed since Dance of Dragons, so I think his writing will have changed and not for the better. That is another good point. Or he's finished writing it, but knows it will fall short of expectations and is sitting on it to have it released posthumously so he doesn't have to deal with the backlash. Right? Again, like he could be like, guys, I'm not going to release it. And then in my will and testament, you can release it when I'm gone. Like feel free to, it's fine. They're done. You don't need to edit them. I've already got an editor. Like that's an interesting thing. I don't know if his editor has looked at both of them. Like, even if his editor's like, yeah, I've read it. I don't even know if that's happened. If it has, I don't remember either. One thing he won't swallow is pride. Just say you can't finish it and let someone else finish it already. That's fine. That is a choice. That is an option. Like all he has to do is go, look, I backed myself into a corner. I think it maybe even comes down to how open does he want to be with admitting that he wrote himself into a corner, or is it a part where things change from the show, which again I think could very likely be the case. Kind of like, hey, You know, he wrote, maybe he's already, okay, let's think about this. If Winds of Winter was originally supposed to come out in 2015, right? The show was still going at that point. He could have released Winds of Winter simultaneously as the latter seasons were airing. So people could read along with Winds of Winter as those latter seasons were airing. But if he already had the book and just maybe needed to edit a couple things here and there, as the show started to deviate, he's like, well, damn, what I'm writing is completely different now. Do I want to release this? Is this going to impact anything? Will people like what I have compared to what's being played on the show? I mean, we obviously probably would if it ends differently, but who knows if that's the case? Kind of like, oh, hey, look, I wrote this book here, but now the show's starting to change everything and I'm out. Yeah. He doesn't have to finish it at 8 either. You think he's standing at Winds of Winter? You think we get Winds of Winter before Fire and Blood 2? Man, that is a good question. It's like I don't even know if he's going to finish anything before he passes away, which sucks. You know, like I don't like talking about someone's, exit here on Earth, but how old is he? George R. R. Martin age. Dude's 77. He's going to turn 78 in September. I mean, I just don't know why he doesn't release it. 1,500 manuscript pages doesn't account to actual book pages yet. It's the biggest, roughly 8 to 1,000 page book. Okay, I thought he had mentioned that there was actual like book pages long. Is he sick? Oh. Touche. Yes. Hey, it was a Fat Man's joke. Those arteries are holding on by a thread. How is he sick right now? Is he like not doing well? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything about him being ill at the moment. However, yes. He might not be making the best health choices in his weight capacity. I think he said he thinned down a bit, but he could probably slim down more. What was his I'm trying to think what his issue was. What was his last blog? Let's see here. July 1st? Proud to announce that the new 2027 calendar, blah, blah, blah. Prior to that, the last time he blogged was May 7th. which was the stage epic. The Mad King. I think the problem with Martin is he's kind of all over the place. He's doing so much that he just isn't like finish one thing. It's like, all right, I'm done with this. And now I'll move on to the next one. I was trying to see if he, real quick, to see if he mentioned anything the last time on his blog about his book. He's nothing but calendars. A Dunkin' Egg. That's another thing too. How far will the Hedge Knight series go? You know, he's got to stay in shape, man. If he really does want to actually release those, he does have to stay in shape. But last thing I was talking about the butterfly effect on the changes of House of the Dragon. Remember it correctly? Yeah. This past blog's about right, exactly. Yep. Yeah. Just I was quickly perusing it. It's all about calendars, the Mad King stage epic, and Dunkin' Egg going back till December. So like, there's been nothing about finishing Fire and Blood 2 or finishing Winds of Winter or anything beyond that. So but yeah, and I wonder if he's maybe in more of a mindset to focus on Dunkin' Egg because people are really into that. People are actually liking it. I think I mentioned last week I have the graphic novel, and I've been rereading it to. I purchased it this year after I watched the show, but I'm rereading it again to kind of work on a video. Then I'm going to watch the show again at some point too. To number one, just talk about we need more shows like this. We need more characters like this. The show is fairly masculine as well, and when you look at obviously a show that coincides well with the source material, people are like, oh wow, we like this. This actually follows along quite well, as compared to like, hey, we would have liked the Fire and Blood or maybe House of the Dragon a lot more if you actually would have followed the damn novel, but you deviated, so we're trashing it now. I say trashing is a harsh word. We're strongly criticizing it, right? Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Oh, what was it called? It was called I wanted to look up something for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So I wanted to look up who was writing the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I want to show about old Valeria. I mean, it'd be cool to get to see the Doom, right? That'd be cool. I don't do rewatches anymore. Watching watch reaction channels. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. I always would love an animated series about Brand the Builder. Yeah, that'd be cool too. There's a lot of characters that would be cool would if they would do actual limited series. Like here's just one season about this character, right? We were talking last week about what they might do for Aegon's Conquest with the movies, and we'll see how that goes. But let's see here. So of the 6 episodes for Song of Night and Fire, wow. And Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Ira Parker. I don't know who that is. That's a dude. Okay. Okay, so Ira Parker worked on, he was a writer for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. he worked on how many episodes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so Ira Parker, man, had a helping hand in writing all 6 episodes of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Okay. Then we have episodes, the finale, written by, I don't know if it's T or Ty McKell. Female, okay. She's also, I think, has an episode or 2 in House of the Dragon. But she worked on the finale of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And also the 5th episode, which is damn good, with Ira Parker. And then Aziza Barnes, woman, poet. And I could totally write in these shows, honestly. I think it's always funny to me when I look at some of these writing credits. I'm like, these people don't even have a degree in English, like English creative writing, English literature, like, and then they get the choices to be a screenwriter. These shows. So Aziza Barnes worked on the 2nd episode of Hedge Knight, and the 4th episode as well. And then Harriet Martinez and Annie Julia Wyman, presuming those names are both female. Also on episodes 3, 4, and 5. So again, interesting how Hiram or Haram Martinez. Okay, it's a dude. Okay. So Haram Martinez worked on episodes 3 and 5. So overall, mix, right? But every episode had a dude writing on it, and then the other ones were a mix. Which is fine. But I wonder why they just decided to stick closer to the Hedge Knight and then just start changing a bunch of shit in Fire and Blood for House of the Dragon. You make Night of 7 Kingdoms 8 to 10 episodes. I think the first season could have worked for 8 episodes. I don't know about 10. I've not read the other books yet. I will be though, so I can't give that opinion. But I think the first season could have worked with 8 episodes though. Overleader would need to be animated, I think. Yeah. I think the biggest question at that point is which studio do you get into making that animation? Because that's gonna be another point of interest where some people might be, turned off by it. So, they would have made, yeah. So I think if they're making it 8 episodes, you're shortening the episodes, right? So some of those longer episodes, you're getting like half-hour episodes. But I haven't read book 2 yet. So maybe for book 2 they do 6 as well, or do you think they'll do 8 episodes for book 2, Mad Dog? I am not sure. I am looking forward to see Lady Rohan. Let's see here. We watching X-Men season 2? I sure am. I sure am. Looking forward to the next episode. I thought about covering that as well, but I didn't. So it's fine. Could talk about either, I guess, right? I think at that point, the first stream would have been like 3 episodes, so then it just gets reduced to 1. But I am curious to see what happens in this season for X-Men 97. I think they already said that they were going to do a season 4, so I'm like, wow, okay, we're not even down with season 2 yet. It just started. Season 3 was announced, but now they're like, yeah, we're going to do a season 4. So I am quite curious. No, 6 book 3, they could possibly make 8, but not 6 episodes. They just more to extend the runtime. Gotcha. Yeah, I'll say quickly off topic. It was quite interesting to see how Magnus was trying to mentor Apocalypse, right, at Summonor, and trying to get him to be on his side. But if it wasn't for Bale or Ball, right, to trick Nur into going like, oh look, see, they've got this ship, they've got the parts here, they were deceiving you, you know, this entire time. And it's like, no, actually we weren't, but you know, this guy's twisting our words, and it's like, just listen to me, you know. I think that would have been interesting, sort of like a what if time, like what if Apocalypse never like hated the X-Men, right? But if he never tried to rule, what if he never was evil at that point, right? It's like he had Professor X's vision before Xavier was even born, right? Like that long ago. Also with oh god, why am I forgetting her name already? Old Rachel Summers. When the moment they announced like who she was, I was like, oh, that's Rachel Summers. Okay. Interesting. You got Mom and Dad and Cable there with Nathan, but she was reluctant to say who she actually was. Yeah, it's good so far. And actually, I do like the fact that the episode titles were like X Force. So now we've got X Force, X Factor. You know, listen, I hope I don't know if they're gonna do it, but I mean, I love the fact that we got Psylocke and Archangel. Archangel's one of my favorite characters. Let's see. A question about time travel in the show. Like, is there a current time travel arc something that was predetermined and already happened, or are they changing things? So it was what's her face? Why am I forgetting her name? Mother Ascani, right? So remember, Mother Ascani was the one that said she brought them there. So she basically divided the X-Men, said half of you go to the future with me, half of you go to the past. And there is still a present amount of X-Men. But then they realize, okay, we need to find who they are, or where they are. Sorry, not who they are. So I do think that they're not so much trying to, I mean, they are still trying to stop Apocalypse, right? Because same thing, like he's trying to get Nathan his body, right? But I don't know. Yeah, Mother Scotty is Rachel. That's why I was kind of like, I was like, oh, she's not going to say who she is. Like, by the way, I'm also Rachel Summers. Like what? I am Rachel Summers from the future. Sorry. But I do like the fact that the episode for episode 3 was called Days of Past Future, and in the comics, Rachel Summers was first appeared in X-Men 141 called Days of Future Past, and great run. But yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get that admittance to Cyclops or Jean. I did see something today, actually. I think I sent it to my buddy. Hold on, let me check my chat here. I think I sent it. Apparently the Marvel's TV boss Brad Winderbaum wants to do 10 seasons of X-Men. 10 seasons of X-Men. So yeah. That's definitely one of my favorite Marvel runs, especially the X-Men. I mean, yeah, 10 seasons is, I mean, it's still a lot. I mean, if you think about, you know, what the original run too, so altogether that would be 15 seasons. They could probably do more. Like, and I think it really depends on how much they want to do, right? Like how many stories could they do, you know, again, because they're still trying to follow a lot of the comics, which is great because, you know, we're never going to see those comics come into live action, right? So at that point, just adapt them to animation. I'm completely fine with that because at least it's, you know, they're still coming alive off the pages at that point. You know, so I need some good X-Men comic recs if you have them. I mean, listen, the one that I will always recommend this. I thought they were going there after season 1, but Onslaught. I need to see Onslaught. That could be how they end the entire thing. Maybe. But I don't know, right? Like you already had Wolverine have his adamantium ripped out. And I think Wolverine will get his adamantium back this season. But I was loving Fast, you know, Wild Logan. So I don't know how they would really get to the Onslaught part, right? Because Bastion also rips off Cable's arm, which technically Magneto did that, but it's fine. Because Bastion was a pretty cool villain. But the Duke of Prunes, what's up? It's crazy how Team Black centered House of the Dragon is. Yeah, right. Well, they would have releasing them yearly. I'm tired of this, and I think that's what they were doing. Like I think X-Men 97 season 3 release date is supposed to be 2027. So we won't have a long gap. So it means if we do get X-Men season 3 summer of 2027, then I hope like it's like a summer release. Summer early fall every single time. Like that would be fine, dude. Like get those, recurrent releases every year like we used to in the old days. But yeah, it'd be cool. There's a lot they could do, right? I think at the end of the day, as long as they're continuing to pull from as long as they continue to pull from comics, there's a lot they could do, right? I think about, as I just mentioned, what we'll never get in a live action format. If you're not going to do live action, then stick to animation. And if that works, perfect. I would love to see some. Again, another recommendation. Wow, I can't speak. Another recommendation for you, Brent. AVX. Avengers versus X-Men. That'd be cool. I'd like to see the Inhumans done properly. Bring them into the fold. I have not started it yet. But yeah, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to wait or not till it's all done. But I haven't started it yet. Yep. Those are also good. House of M, another popular one. Yeah, Bastion was good. And then was it Theo James, right? Is that his name, right? Theo James. Did a good job voice acting Bastion as well. The Siege Perilous Furnace is dope too. We get the modern version of Sarlacc is born in that. Yep. Now I don't know if we're gonna see Gambit come back at all. I was wondering that. I was wondering and thinking that we might see Gambit as one of the horsemen of the Apocalypse, which would be some shit for Rogue, and I guess the rest of the X-Men too. But go back to House of the Dragon. There's a literally no action between Aegon and his father, except for him screaming at him once. Yeah. Aegon the second grew up fatherless, that's for sure. And you wonder why he turned out to be such a little shit. Gentleman 2 should be out soon. Oh, I was just thinking about that the other day. I love that first season, man. I talked about it with some folks trying to cover it on like Tuesdays. Like with like Vex and like Goodwin and Gord. So that because I think Gord has watched it. And I've always said I would go back and rewatch that to like cover it and talk about it, for Gambit. I think so too. Isn't Sarlacc or Polaris the kid of Magneto? So Polaris is the kid of Magneto. And I think it's in the 10th episode of season 1 where they're in the old like pub or bar, whatever it is, with it's just Xavier and Magnus, and like the waves are like crashing outside, and there's like a boat that's outside, and you can see silhouettes of Wanda, Quicksilver, and Polaris. So all his kids. I'd like to see. Sebastian Shaw is dead. I think, right? He die in Genosha in episode 5 of season 1. Now you know we're going to see more of Emma Frost, and I think we might see Scott and Emma. You know what I'm saying? We could see that. Because it's weird how and you know I don't know if we'll get anything else from like the Shi'ar Empire again, because I don't know what else they're going to include, like character wise, like what other non X-Men characters are we going to see? Like, you know, like we do see, you know, Kat for that one episode with like Rogue's in it, and she like tosses his shield out, you know, and we do see Iron Man for a second. We do see, you know, brief cameos of like Spider-Man, Daredevil, Cloak and Dagger, right? So, but I don't know how much they would be in it. Like, and like other characters would really be in it as well. Like, you know, are they going to just like one-off cameos, or they're just have like more interactions with other characters like we normally would in comic books, right? So, you know, it could again be very, very interesting. I do remember that, and I hope we don't see that. Slim's my favorite villains. Yeah. Ultimate Marvel is insane. Yeah. Yes, I did watch Wolverine and the X-Men. Yep. All right, Mad Dog. Catch you later, brother. Yeah, I'm gonna call it here in just a second, but I did enjoy that that season. Stephen Blum voicing my boy Wolverine. Hell yeah. It is. But we got that in 95 though, or sorry, X-Men 92. So like, I don't know. Again, I always forget that. Well, actually, no, I don't forget. But like, again, we already saw quite a bit from that era, so I don't know what we're gonna get. I am inevitable, Waylon. No, I was literally about to go call it a night though. So, but anyway, yeah, we'll call it a night. We'll be here for next Tuesday to talk about stop it, Waylon. No. I'm gonna disagree with you there. I'm gonna disagree with you there. Next Tuesday we'll talk about House of Dragon episode 4. We'll see what happens. I will be very curious, of course, but you know, who knows? Maybe Ormond's aura will carry us through. Yeah, you guys have been great tonight. Appreciate everyone watching on YouTube, X, Kick. You guys are awesome. Great chat tonight. So, and then yeah, she was not in it very much at all. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. For Massive Mondays, we are covering the 45th anniversary of Escape from New York. So tune in Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then again, 9 p.m. Eastern, presumably next Tuesday night for episode 4 of House of Dragon. So not sure what else is streaming, but I won't force you to go anywhere else. So if you want to pop it anywhere, be my guest. We all might have heartburn, have those Pepsid AFCs, pills handy, but y'all are great, and I will catch you